Demi-fiend is by far the hardest challenge this game has to offer, making even the previous super boss look like a joke in comparison, and on hard mode is one of the toughest challenges I've done in an RPG. In this video I'm going to showcase the build I used to beat this fight in under 30 minutes and offer commentary explaining my thought process during the fight. I hope it's helpful to anyone looking to fight him. As a fair warning, this video will have a couple demon spoilers, so be careful. So for this fight I used a total of 6 demons, with the first 3 never changing, and the order does matter. Shiva is in slot 1 because his unique ability Tandava is the only way this fight can really be completed in any reasonable amount of time. Outside of that, he has Donum Gladi to buff the Nahabino. Besides that, it's just 6 passives. Null Ice is important to cover his weakness, Abyssal Mass and Enduring Soul are basically required on everyone you plan to use so you don't get statused often or into instant death cheesed, and a simple resist force because an immunity to force would mean enemies may start spamming too many almighty attacks. Eden is the second slot because Golden Apple is just the most important healing and stat buffing move in the game and is another essential component to my team. Her stats are beefed up a bit from Incense because we need her to have as much MP and be as strong as possible. She has Repel Fizz and Null Electric to remove those weaknesses and stop Demifiend's dangerous attacks. Otherwise, about what you'd expect. The Nahabino has taken all the bombs I could possibly find, so that's helpful to get him more powerful in tankiness for the fight since obviously he cannot die. My resistances come from Trumpeter to make sure I don't have any weaknesses. Murakumo is my only attacking move, with everything else beefing up my damage or protecting me. Trust me when I say this is probably optimal. The main fourth I used was Cleopatra, who was in a majority of the fight. Frolic is a great move that can affect any enemy to sometimes remove enemy turns, and lowering attack and defense by 2 stages is fantastic. Ice Age is the attack of choice to pierce, and besides that, once again about what you would expect, removing the physical and dark weakness. Her stats don't have any instance boost, but she's still good enough. I started the fight with Ra in the 4th slot just to save on MP and get some extra damage out early before I really needed Cleo's abilities. He died faster than I expected, but it ended up working out. And finally, I had Nua, who came in for like a single turn at the end after Cleo got killed by his instant death move. Didn't do much, but her high magic stat and Donum Gladi helped me close it out. Also has Drain Fizz for what that's worth, and with that done, let's get into the fight itself. So this fight has a couple really important gimmicks to remember. One, he always summons allied demons and will always have 3 on the field at a time. Even if you kill one, he's just going to summon another. Besides that, he always starts the fight off with Javelin Rain, and if you don't have anyone that at least nulls physical, then he is going to spam that AoE attack and he's going to mess you up with it, so make sure to bring something like that. That attack lets him know everyone's affinity, so he's not going to use the move again, as long as you have at least someone that nulls the attack. And my start of choice is just instantly activating the critical Magatsuhi skill and using Shiva's Tandava to lower his defense to the minimum, get a boost from Eden's Golden Apple, and then go in with a decently powerful Murakumo on Demifiend himself. Ra and Eden on this next turn are going to be targeting the Pixie to get Pixie's health pretty low because Pixie can heal and is the most annoying of all of these demons possible. Currently on the field at least. Get a big 4k damage on Demifiend because I used Donum Gladi with Shiva on Murakumo. And now, here comes Demifiend's turn. A bunch of physical attacks. He's going to be targeting Shiva with his main physical attack a bunch because he's the only one who isn't completely immune to physical attacks. And we definitely want that. If Shiva was also immune to physical attacks, he'd spam his almighty move instead, and that is bad. We do not want that at all. So Shiva's going to be our essential tank for this fight, basically. Turn management is really important in this fight. That's why I just passed with Shiva. Also MP conservation with him. So I just did a simple pass there. I'll be using some item gems later, but for right now, I just wanted to conserve my resources a bit, make sure I'd be okay. Same thing with Ra and Shiva passing again, because I wanted to get the Eden and all these extra turns with Nahabino. I used a critical gem on Nahabino last turn. I'll be using a bunch of those. I have max inventory for this fight. And to get Pixie a bit lower, and I believe Ra's Trisagion is going to kill her, so we don't no longer have to worry about her. Now, you might think it might be more beneficial just to keep these allied demons alive if he's just going to summon more anyway, but no, you don't want to do that. That's actually really bad. So if he goes 6 or so actions without you killing any of the allied demons, actions, not just turns, then he will use a move called Gaia Rage, which just one-shots your entire team and does 20,000 damage. That's really bad, so we're going to have to make sure that we're constantly killing the ally demons too, and they are unfortunately very tanky. And my main strategy for this is just make sure that one's like at least halfway weakened by the time I kill another one, so I can be in a good position to keep putting damage on Demifiend while I'm doing damage to them as well. Ra ended up dying really early, as I said before, but fortunately I put Cleo in now. She's going to be in for most of the rest of the fight, pretty much the next like 20 minutes or so of this fight, 25 minutes actually. And she comes in and immediately is going to use Frolic here. Now, the thing about Frolic is that it's going to make the enemies use Dekunda on themselves because it lowers too much of their stats. If it's just Tandava, they don't actually use Dekunda to raise the defense. And these enemies also like spamming Luster Candy, Debilitate, and Dekaja on you if you have too many stat boosts yourself. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have only one Golden Apple, they don't use Dekaja, but they can use Debilitate to lower you back to even anyway. But that's not always guaranteed, but they are guaranteed pretty much to use Dekaja unless they are just charmed or lose all of their turns somehow if you've got 2 stat boosts on everyone with that Golden Apple boost. So the general strategy here is to use Shiva's Tandava every time I've got the crit turn up, and just get as much damage as possible from there. If I know the crit turn is going to come up next turn, I need to get a charge off on Nahavino. Cleopatra is going to be using Ice Age on Cerberus, who's weak to ice, to weaken him a bit. And Eden's going to be killing or nearly killing the elephant-looking dude. I forgot his name. So we get him low on health. We get another Murakumo that's boosted by charge from Donum Gladi on Demifiend himself. And then Ice Age on Cerberus again. Demifiend uses Chaotic Will. That move, that's the instant death move. Abyssal Mask helps protect against most of it, but Eden did get afflicted by it, but Enduring Soul saved her. It's really unfortunate it was Eden, though. I was kind of worried about that. Cerberus uses a fire move, which Shiva absorbs, so unfortunately, Demifiend doesn't get another turn there, which might have been bad. That instant death move also cuts my next press turns in half, so I only get 2 press turns this time. So I had to be really careful about what I did here to make sure I was going to be okay. Eden does kill the elephant because he would have used Gaia Rage next turn if she did not, so that was really fortunate. Since at this point I just need to be a little safe, I'm just going to give a Chakra Pot to Eden to give her a bit more MP for now. Make sure you come into this fight with like maximum Somos, by the way. You need that full MP restoration at points in the fight. Especially if you're using Eden. She is an MP hog with the Golden Apple, but it's such an important move. Alright, we get some misses there on that attack, so Demifiend's not going to get another turn here, so that's actually really nice. So now we're back to 4 press turns. I don't know exactly when Demifiend uses the instant death moves. He uses it like 3 to 4 times per battle. I think it's at certain health ranges. I know like about 25% of the way through his health bar the first time he does it. He does it towards the end of the fight, and then I think he does it a couple times in between. Thor is also weak to wind, so we can use Eden's wind attacks on it. Zanbarian is here for the stronger wind attacks, and then Killing Wind is here just because sometimes I need to pierce enemy weaknesses and get damage with that as well. So what you're noticing is my general pattern is just make sure I can get the charge gem off on myself when I don't have the Magatsuhi turn up, because I want to get crits with that to give myself press turn bonuses. I'm very careful about my turn management by passing with Shiva a bunch. Getting an attack off with Eden and before using Golden Apple every turn to get my heal off. And then getting an extra turn with Cleo at the end by how I use my turn order here. So she can just either use a nice attack or Donum Gladi or Frolic or whatever. And since I know I'm going to get the crit turn up again next turn, I go ahead and put charge on myself instead of the critical guarantee effect, because that's going to give me more damage for the next turn. They're used Debilitate sometimes, that's pretty annoying. Really, the stat buffs and nerfs are one of the main reasons this fight is so difficult. If you could keep your like max stats on yourself, it would be a lot easier, and if you keep min stats on the enemies, it would be a lot easier. But hey, it wouldn't be a hard fight otherwise, I suppose. So yeah, once again, there goes the Tandava. I believe after this turn, he'd probably use Gaia Rage, so I need to kill Cerberus or Thor, one of the two, this turn. Use Murakumo on Demifiend himself. He's almost to half HP now. That was really unfortunate. I got really unlucky with that dodge by the enemy there. So I just bank on hoping that he doesn't have enough to use Gaia Rage yet, since I got a couple misses and drains from the sequence before. But fortunately, he ends up attacking Cleo, who has that Repel Fizz, so I end up getting another turn instantly. I didn't get to make max use of my Magatsuhi turn last time. That's not a huge deal. I did get the Repel Fizz that time. I guess he didn't know Cleo's weakness yet. I thought he already knew it from something else, but oh well. I know there's a way to, like, cheese this with, like, Repel Fizz on, like, a bunch of demons and, like, continuously swapping them in, but I don't like cheese strategies. I like doing things legitimately. So I know I only use that, like, Repel strategy just this one instance because I was gonna have it on her anyway because I didn't want her to be neutral or physical, otherwise she'd just get destroyed. That's not really, like, cheesing in my opinion, because I already had it on her before I even knew that strategy existed. Anyway, back to the fight, more important strategy. Ice Age on Cerberus there to get rid of him, and now I'm not gonna have to worry about Gaia Rage at all. I go ahead and use Killing Wind on Demifiend himself because since I just killed an ally demon, I don't need to focus on Thor's right now. I just use a normal Murakumo on Demifiend as well. This is another reason I don't want to focus on Thor, because I just wanted to get Demifiend to half health, because when he gets to half health the first time, he's going to use mediarahan and full heal his entire side. So that's why we didn't want to focus too much damage on Thor, because he's just going to heal up anyway. I needed to get Demifiend under half, so we used that guaranteed. And you also want to time basically killing a demon right before him using a Mediarahan, because you don't want him to use Gaia Rage. And he can very easily use Gaia Rage if he full heals the team and you haven't killed a demon in a bit. Because then you're going to be in a really bad situation, and that's something you definitely want to prevent. So now I'm back to my general turn order sequence of passing with Shiva, and going to move with Eden, Critical Gem on myself, Cleopatra's Frolic or Ice Age, and then either pass or gem with Shiva again. Looks like I'm considering what to do here. Okay, yeah, Chakra Pot. Okay, using another Chakra Pot on Eden for now. That's a decent move as well. Go ahead and pass with Shiva. Golden Apple will heal everyone up. The guaranteed crit will allow Cleo to get another turn. Thinking about who to use it on, I just decided to use it on Demi-fiend. Get 2k damage out on him. I don't have any buffs right now, but he is nerfed defensively currently at the very least. I go ahead and use Donum Gladiator myself because I should get a crit Magatsuhi turn next turn, and I end up doing that. Megadolin, definitely don't want to have the enemy spamming too many almighty attacks. These statuses they can do could be very, very dangerous. That's another reason Abyssal Mask is so important in this fight. You do not want yourself afflicted with too many of those. So Shiva's pretty close to dead at this point, but I don't really care if that. As long as he's not actually dead, that's all that really matters to me. Go ahead and activate another crit turn here. Use Tandava to make sure the defense is at the minimum. Use Zanbarian on Thor because I really need to kill him at this point. So instead of worrying about the crit turn on myself, or the extra buff, I really just need to focus on Thor and make sure he dies. And in order to heal this turn, I used a Bead Chain instead of Eden's Golden Apple, because I really need to kill Thor, and Eden has the most damage to do that. So we use Zanbarian on him again, get him down to red health. And now Cleo should be able to finish off with Ice Age, so I just go back to targeting Demi-fiend with Murakumo to get some extra damage on him. I would have hit Thor if he was not red health, because I absolutely did need to kill him. I used a Force Gem just to guarantee that he didn't die. Crap, I actually thought he did. Okay, well, apparently I was not at the deadly, the Gaia Rage section yet, because obviously I would have died otherwise. Or at least gotten in a really bad situation, since it would have popped my, Enduring Souls, and everyone that's not Eden would have just straight up died, because hers was already popped. So apparently I'm lucky, and that was not the, I miscounted in the positive way that time. Fortunately, Eden does finish off Thor that time, so I don't have to worry about Gaia Rage anymore. This actually puts me in a decent-ish situation now, because I can get a nice turn order sequence and prepare for the next couple of rounds. So, Demifiend will not use Mediarahan again. He only uses it one time per fight. There is actually a way to phase skip that, but it requires extreme amounts of luck, where you charm him with Cleo, and the turn he would have used Mediarahan, he just decides to not do anything instead, and then he just won't use it the rest of the fight. I've done that like 2 times during attempts of this, but it's not really that common. I had to do a lot of theory crafting when preparing for this fight to do it without cheesing it, but I think I came up with something pretty good here. Like I said, only using 6 demons is actually really impressive for this. Like, I think the other fights I've even seen on YouTube use way, way more, and some of them even cheese it, so, you know. I'm pretty happy with what I accomplished here. I think this is by far the fastest hard mode time on YouTube currently. Probably, at least, unless something changes. I used some fire gems on Jack Frost to get some press turn advantages here. So one thing about Parvati there is that she can also heal Demi-fiend, so it's really important to get rid of her as soon as possible as well. So I probably focus really heavily on her the next few turns, because we do not want her doing anything really bad in this fight. Frolic's actually much better when Jack Frost is on the field as well, because he's weak to Charm, and that's really important. I use a Soma on Eden to get her MP all the way up to max and her health up to max as well. She uses Golden Apple to heal everyone else. And now I have Murakumo ready to go with the charge gem, but since this is not a crit turn, I'm just going to use a Chakra Pod on Shiva to get his MP up a little bit, since I'll get the crit turn next turn. I get the Kajas, unfortunately, but that's not a huge deal. The other 2 did not attack at all, and there was just some deadly flurries there on Shiva, and since he's resistant to physical, don't have to worry too much about that. Alright, we activate the crit turn, same strategy as general at this point, just Pandava into Golden Apple into all of my dangerous attacks. I believe I target Parvati here. I would be very surprised if I did not. Yes, okay. She needs to go as soon as possible. Like I said, we do not want her healing. So I focus my efforts on her. Have Shiva use Donum Gladi on Nahavino. And I believe Eden and Cleo can finish Parvati at this point. So I can, yeah, absolutely. So I can focus Demi-fiend with this next Murakumo and get another 4K on him. All in all, you have to do about 90,000 damage to Demi-fiend. He has 60,000 total health. But since he heals at half HP one time, you have to do 90,000 damage total to him, so that's really fun. Alright, we've officially looped around. The elephant dude is back in again, and now every demon will just spawn back in order. I never actually killed Kuchulon, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The guy who's also in Fate, you know. Just because I hadn't really had a great opportunity, and I wanted to focus on other demons that are like, was more easy to hit their weaknesses and do more damage to them. And Tom is unfortunately like immune to wind. He doesn't really take much damage from ice or anything either, so just better to focus the other demons for me, especially because he doesn't have anything really that dangerous in his arsenal, so I wasn't really worried about him. Really, as long as you're killing one demon, it doesn't really matter who, as long as you're killing one every couple turns or so. So I'm using my general turn order sequence here, where I use the pass into attack with Eden to hit a weakness, into critical gem, into Cleo's move. Yeah, just the general attack pattern to get 8 total turns, along with getting a strong attack off with Nahabino. There's the second Chaotic Will. That's going to cut my press turns in half next turn, but luckily Instant Death didn't activate on anyone, so that's really useful. Thank you, Abyssal Mask, another reason that's required, like I said. So next turn's just going to be a turn about being defensive and maintaining everything there. I only get 2 press turns, so I have to be really careful. I got to make sure I use Golden Apple to keep everyone topped off on health. And using my last move here, I probably have Fire Gem. Yes, Fire Gem on Jack Frost, because I do not want to get destroyed by the Gaia Rage that could come to the turn after this. So I use Frolic again to lower the health. And some reasons Frolic is intentional. I know he's going to use Dekunda and stuff, but I just really need to focus on, like, I don't want them using anything besides Dekunda, because that could also be really dangerous to me. Whereas at least with Dekunda, I know what I'm getting. Alright, so that Dekunda into Luster Candy was actually pretty good for me, because that's just going to raise their stats a bit, but Shiva's just going to lower defense to the minimum with Tandava again anyway. So that doesn't really matter as far as doing as much damage as possible this turn. The crit Magatsuhi turn here. Go ahead and Golden Apple to get myself a double attack boost now. So we're doing double damage, double attack boost to their minimum defense boost. This is going to be a really powerful turn. Unfortunately, I didn't have charge on Nahabino, but I still did over 3k just because of the stat bonuses. Jack Frost ends up dying from the Pierce Ice Age. Make sure it's Pierce. If you use any normal ice attack, you're just going to drain it, and you're just going to be screwed. That's why Pierce moves are important. I use Zanbarian on the Elephant guy to get him down to half health. I do about 5,000 damage to Demi-fiend with the charge there, so that's really good. Then I use another Ice Age on the Elephant guy just to make sure we get him pretty low on health. We're ready to kill him when it's convenient. Pixie spawns back in. Pixie can also heal, so we need to get rid of her as soon as possible as well. She's going to be another dangerous foe in this instance. Eden ends up eating a powerful attack there, but fortunately she did not die. She lived with just enough health, so that's really beneficial to us. Go ahead and use Zanbarian again, because get that extra press turn. She can heal next turn. I'm not really worried about that. She shouldn't be the target 2 turns in a row, because he'll go back to using his physical attack on Shiva again. Sometimes he does use Freykugel, and that can always be dangerous depending on who he targets, but he won't spam it unless everyone at least nulls, like I said, so at least have one resist if nothing else. You do not want to have someone who's neutral to Fizz. If you do, that move, the physical move you use always crits. That's going to be really bad. It's going to hurt you a lot, and it's going to give them an extra press turn. And you do not want that at all. So just 1 resist, and then 3 nulls is the way to go, really. Have your resist be just tanky, and enough to not die from, like, some repeated attacks. So I use Murakumo on Pixie, because like I said, getting rid of Pixie is really important. I use a Soma on Eden because Eden is low on MP again, and I need her to have maximum MP here. I still have 3 Somas. I think I only actually used 3 this fight, when you can very easily use all 5. But I ended up playing it pretty well with the Chakra Pots to be like conservative over there. Even though Chakra Pots only restore 200, it ended up working out for me. Zanbarian, I'm just going to kill the Elephant dude this turn, so I don't have to worry about Demi-fiend's annoying stuff. Now, I don't know like what causes Pixie or Parvati to heal. I think it's if you do too much damage to Demi-fiend while they are active, or like take too many turns while they're active. So they won't use it instantly. At least I have not seen them use it instantly. So I've got a couple turns of leeway on that. But I go ahead and target Pixie here to make sure Pixie's lower on health, because what I want to do is like time it so where I can get a big chunk of damage on Demi-fiend on the turn I kill Pixie, so I don't have to worry about that at all. If Demi-fiend's already low on health when they come in, they still don't really heal him, from what I have seen at least. I don't know, it's really odd. I don't know what causes them to heal exactly. So Cerberus comes back in, that gives the ice weakness for Cleo to hit with her strong ice attack, so that's pretty nice. Freykugel hurts, but not a big deal. Everyone's taking about a little bit of damage. The Golden Apple's going to heal off perfectly, so that's going to give us a pretty solid turn here. The crit Magatsuhi turn doesn't quite charge, so I just use this turn probably for preparation. Item, I think probably like Electro Gem? Okay. Because I know that's a guaranteed weakness on Tom there. Not Tom. Kuchulon. You know who it is. The Irish guy. Go ahead and use a critical gem on Nahabino again, because I'm going to get that powerful attack off this turn as well. I use another Soma, this time on Cleo, because she was running low on MP and resources there. So I think that's the 3rd and final Soma I use this fight, unless you get 1 for winning the fight, because I know I have 2 in my inventory now. But I'm in a decent position, so I'm not really worried about that. So Murakumo, I use it on Demi-fiend just for the guaranteed crit press turn. And now Cleo is going to use Dylan Gladdy on Nahabino, since I have the crit Magatsuhi turn next turn. And next turn I probably kill Pixie too, because I don't want to leave Pixie alive. I think one thing that can lower the chances of healing is also if you like force them to use Dekaja and Dekunda there, so that's another pretty good reason to do that. Demi-fiend misses his last attack, wouldn't have mattered anyway, but he does miss his last attack, so that's nice. And now crit turn. Sandava lowered their defense again all the way to the minimum. Eden's gonna Golden Apple to give my team an attack boost more than anything. I Murakumo Demi-fiend for 4.5k there. Ice Age Pixie. And I believe Eden probably finishes her off, or maybe Eden does something else. Oh yeah, Eden. Okay, Eden just does some extra damage to Demi-fiend there. 1.5k. I mean, it's not a ton, but it is something, and it adds up. Do another over 4k to Demi-fiend with the charge, and Ice Age finishes off Pixie. So she's gone now. Now there are no healers on the field, so I don't have to worry about that. Thor comes back in, weak to wind, pretty useful. Cerberus is still on, weak to fire, or weak to ice. So we're in a pretty good spot as far as his ally demons. They're all like pretty beneficial to us. Chaotic Will, here's the third time it comes in and ends up killing Cleo that time, and she has to use her Enduring Soul on that. And the last Enduring, she doesn't have it, like the last time, okay, he uses it 4 times this fight then. The last time he ends up using it is towards the end of his health bar now. And ended up killing Cleo that time because I had to bring in Nua for like the very last turn. But not a huge deal there. I go ahead and use a wind gem with Shiva. Since I'm towards the end of the fight now, I can afford to use gems with him and not worry about my resource management as much, so he can get some extra damage with that. It also allows us to get to this part of the press turn. Use a critical gem on myself, just so I'm ready for next turn. I use Frolic to lower their stuff, try to get some charms off, and make sure they have to use Dekunda, so I'm not in like a really bad position this turn. Almighty AoE attack, pretty scary. The charm helped, and then Dekunda also helped. Shiva could have very easily died otherwise, because he's only at 100 health now, because he didn't have any defense buff or anything like that. So I'm probably going to use another gem here. Another Force Gem on Thor. Another Zanbarian on Thor to get him to about half health. And then Murakumo on Demi-fiend again. Does a decent amount, not too much, because he doesn't have any like defense lower right now, and I did not have any attack buffs, but still 1.7k and a guaranteed crit to give us more press turns, so that's pretty nice. Another Force Gem is going to be used on Thor, and then I'm going to use Golden Apple. And then Nahabino, I believe I use a Charge Gem with him instead of a Critical Gem, because next turn is going to be the Magatsuhi turn. So we want to get that extra damage for that, since we got the guaranteed crits anyway. The crits are really important, since I have Critical Zealot, and Murakumo does extra critical damage also. So, not doing critical damage is going to make Murakumo do significantly less damage otherwise, but it can hurt significantly with Critical Zealot. That's why the critical gems and the Magatsuhi turns are so important to get as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. Don't think I would have been able to do this in under 30 minutes otherwise. So we're approaching the end of the fight here. Like I said, if Cleo didn't get instant death by the last, whatever the heck he does, then she could have stayed in, and I've only had to use 5 demons, but I technically had to use 6 because she ended up dying. Actually, probably could have ended it without bringing Nua in, but it would have been a lot more risky, so, you know. Always better to be safe than sorry. Zanbarian on Thor, he's going to be almost dead at this point. Can get a powerful Murakumo on Demi-fiend, over 5,000 there. He's in red health now. So we are now approaching the end of the fight. I kill Thor to make sure he can't use Gaia Rage. And now we're in a really good position where he's low on health, he can't use Gaia Rage, and he has to summon an ally on this turn. So I'm like feeling really good about myself at this point. He summons back in Jack Frost, so I don't have to worry about any healers coming back in at this point, because I think I can finish him off before anything else happens. Fogna hits Cleo. I'm not too concerned with that, because I don't really need her to attack right now, I don't think. Cerberus is still in, so the Ice Age is actually important, so maybe I actually do end up doing something with that. I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I'd probably use an Electric Gem or an Ice Gem here. Yeah, Electric Gem on Ku. Probably just playing it safe to make sure, just in case I need to kill an extra demon, if the turn order goes really bad for me. That's probably a smart idea there. I also use an Electric Gem with Eden, who has high magic. That gets him even lower on health, also gives us extra press turns. Critical Gem on myself again. Cleo can use Frolic without it worrying about the mist effect. It doesn't really matter. Jack Frost is weak to that, so we get the extra press turn from that, guaranteed. That's pretty nice. And once again with Shiva, I use another Electric Gem to get Tam into red health. Why am I calling him Tam? I don't know. I feel like there was another dude in one of the games that was called like Tam Lim or something that looks like almost the exact same, but I can't remember for sure. Regardless, though, we're in a decent spot at this point in time. It's just kind of, I'm playing safe now to make sure nothing like catastrophic happens. Use the Amrita Soda just to be safe, and make sure she's not missive when she actually does need to attack. And there's the Chaotic Whip, so that ended up being worthless, because she ends up dying anyway. Unfortunate that she got hit twice by that with Abyssal Mask, but sometimes it is what it is. I also just barely didn't get enough Magatsuki for the crit turns. That doesn't matter because I wanted to use it this turn anyway because my press turns were halved. At this point, all I gotta make sure to do is that I get to Nahabino's turn no matter what, because it would be really bad if I did not, because I need to get in Nua. And I believe I actually end it next turn, or maybe it was the turn after. But yeah, I put in Nua, and then next turn ends it, so Nua's literally in for one turn. Pretty epic. But since she does Drain Fizz, I do get this here, Deadly. It wouldn't have mattered, I don't think, because he would have just targeted Shiva anyway, and Shiva would have lived, obviously. So I guess, I don't know. I don't really consider that cheese. I mean, I just bring in the guaranteed finish there. Like I said, I probably didn't have to bring her in. I probably could have still won this anyway in this turn, but better to be safe than sorry, like I said. It's not like it's going to hurt me any. So yeah, technically used 6 demons, but should have very easily been 5 if I didn't get cheesed by the instant death attack. So I'm pretty happy with this run here. About what you'd expect at this point, I'm going to use Donum Gladi on myself one more time here. Just as Shiva's running out of MP, so pretty good management there. Killing Wind gets him low enough. Murakumo is going to end the fight. So that's it. That is hard mode Demi-fiend. Shiva carries with the defense down, Eden carries with the heals and stat bonuses, Nahabino carries with the damage with the Murakumo. And besides that, Cleo was my 4th, but you could probably replace it with pretty much anyone who's just prepared for the fight. You get a bunch of Maka for winning the fight, and that's how you do it. I really hope this video was helpful to you in learning how to fight Demi-fiend, maybe helping you prepare your own team. And as always, thank you for watching. Subscribe to me if you enjoyed my content. Have a wonderful and blessed day. I don't really know what else to say. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.